You're watching the CG Live podcast. Now, the content for these podcasts are a little bit different than our normal pods as we bring on members and do long-form interviews. These were actually recorded live at our events with members that were going on stage to present, so the content is killer. Enjoy the show. What's up, everyone? Leon Barnes back. Day 2, CG Select, CG Elevate, our live Collective Genius podcast. We have had an awesome first day, and we are just starting. You might even be able to hear the networking that is going on outside. If you are not in this room, you need to get into this room. And if you're on the fence, you won't be after you hear this interview with my next guest. I'm so proud and excited to welcome one of my favorite members, Miss Jennie Hudspeth, to her very first podcast here at the Collective Genius. Welcome in.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I can tell you're a little nervous, excited. We're going to make you feel at home as always. Jennie is presenting later during our quick hitter presentations later this afternoon. Before we get to what you're presenting on, tell everyone why you are so great and accomplished to be able to do that presentation. What do you do, where you do it from, and who do you help?
So like Leon said, my name is Jennie Hudspeth. I run a company called REI Sales Tools. What I get to do is I help salespeople transform into the best version of themselves. I told Leon that I'm not the greatest at the elevator pitch for what I get to do because I work really hard to try to help people figure out where the biggest gain in the gap is. So I'm based out of Mobile, Alabama, but I work with people all over the U.S. and all over the world. I've got people in Spain and Ireland and Egypt and the Philippines, people in Las Vegas and California. And what I spend most of my time doing is coaching lead managers, acquisition managers, and sales managers to the highest version of themselves.
And when you say the highest version of themselves, when you are being hired, how do you help them be the highest version of themselves? Is this leadership coaching? Is this KPI tracking? What is this?
So I run a 6-month curriculum, and I kind of tell people that I try to be the homeschool version of sales training.
Love that. I've never heard you say that. There's your pitch.
But I like to go an inch wide, a mile deep. And so it really starts my presentation today is on really the foundations, the foundational mindset and belief that you have to carry and bring into your organization to be able to create an environment where people can even transform. It's kind of the cadence of what has been here so far is really understanding the leadership mindset, doing the hard work to be able to set yourself up for scale. And so when you ask me what it is that we cover, I try to be all inclusive. I try to cover the whole person perspective, understanding that you aren't your outcomes. It's about understanding the process and how to really formulate the equation, the 1 + 1, because 1 + 1 will always equal 2. So if you know what you're trying to accomplish, if you know where you want to go and you know where you are, we can reverse engineer a path to get you there together. And I teach concepts so that I always tell people, you teach a man a fish or give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, feed him for a life. So I try to teach real estate investing concepts. But it's really not reinventing the wheel. It's communication tools, it's connection tools, it's engagement tools, it's empowerment, inspiration, and it's tactical. I mean, of course, there's objection handling. Of course, there's purpose-driven talk tracks. There's, how to set expectations, how to understand what wholesaling even is. What even is investing? A lot of the people on our teams, if you asked them what investing is, from your lead managers to your acquisition managers, even your sales managers at a high level, can't distill that concept down to something repeatable. I want those concepts in our organizations to be like the Pledge of Allegiance. Like we all grew up saying it in our classroom. We all know it. So those things that we think are so everyone knows, most people don't understand.
Yeah. Do you see a change? I know that when I got into this business and came to my first Collective Genius meeting, I had just come from corporate And I just remember walking through the doors and going, man, these people are really successful, but hiring systems, repeatable systems for profitability, it didn't really exist. Now, as I've been on this side now for 7 years, I've seen each business owner come in a little bit better. Are you seeing any trends where teams are more equipped or better equipped to be more successful with repeatable process? That answer is no. I could just tell from that, from
Well,
that
no, it's
hesitation.
not a no. It's not a heck yes either.
Okay.
The question was, are people coming in more prepared to set up
By the time they get to you.
I think that number one, I work really hard to bring in people who are ready for the type of caliber training that I do coach, people who are ready to implement. So it's really about, this is what I'll say. One of the most important things that you can bring into CG and into your life in general. This is a concept that I try to teach my kid. I have a 4-year-old little boy and a 1-year-old little girl. The one lesson that I hope that they learn is understanding ownership, how to take ownership of themselves, and open-mindedness. My dad always used to tell me that a true sign of ignorance is closed-mindedness. Like the first sign of ignorance is closed-mindedness. So be open-minded to perspective. So I will say that I've seen more open-mindedness and ownership in the people in this room and the people that are here that get to me. They're open-minded. They're willing to listen. What is the quote? I don't think it's Grant Cardone. It might be, he said, what does he say? Don't get cute. Like a lot of these systems, processes, and understandings, like you don't have to freestyle. Like you just have to start. Don't make it cute. Just execute to the best of your ability. So I will say that I think people are coming in and they're not trying to get cute with it. They're trying to execute.
So on your quick hitter today, it's obviously quick hitter for a reason. So it's a give. It is a presentation of give. So what do you give today in a short amount of time with all that you do? What's the presentation about?
So I was asked to kind of speak on lead management processes that increase conversions.
Okay.
And so I'll say that I'm going to talk about a conversation that I had at the last CG that really impacted one of the sales managers that I've been working with. And we're going to talk about the foundations, the foundational mindsets that you have to be able to implement those processes for conversion. So we're going to redefine some definitions that we all carry already. So we're going to talk about commitment. We're going to talk about success, and what do those definitions mean, and what does true success look like? And everyone's definition of success is different. And so we come in here and we try to, what did I hear? R&D, rip off and duplicate. And the reality is your core values are different. Your culture is different. Your people are different. Your markets are different. Yes, there are best practices, but really, in order to R&D, you have to be able to ask really great questions, and you have to know your definition of success. You have to know you have to know your destination. I loved the quote yesterday from Dustin in his presentation. He said, "If you can't see where you're going, no map will help you get there." And I think that has been the cadence, and that concept is what I'm hoping to bring in my presentation is. You have the roadmap, you have all the tools and the tactics, and we come in here and we look for the tactical. But if your mind isn't right and your belief system isn't right and your foundations aren't cast, not just for you as a leader, but you have to cast the foundation for your team. And if you're not doing that at a high level, you can't scale something that isn't stable.
You will love Casey Smith's presentation today. As you're talking, all I could think about was the pod that we did with her yesterday, talking about what she's going to deliver here really soon. She talked about her identity as an entrepreneur, and not as a real estate investor, although she did do that, just as a business owner in general, that she had a vision, but she truly didn't understand her identity first. And that's what her whole presentation's about. So your quick hitter will just add another layer and should land very well, considering once you watch that, I promise you, once you watch that presentation today, I guarantee you will use some of that as you go up on stage for your quick hitter today. I am a sucker for human triumph. I think about the things that make me cry the most outside of my kids. I think about human triumph, somebody that starts at the bottom and works their way up to the top. And you're that person. I think about that all the time. Like all the things that your clients get from you is because of the work that you put in. I saw you grind from the bottom and become a leader in the real estate space. You've been doing this, even though you look like you're 15. You've been doing this for a very long time. And I love how you, as you know, let's face it, a minority in this business. There are not a lot of females in the room. There are not a lot of females that are in the real estate space. You are someone that I have seen come into a very male-dominated field and establish yourself as a true leader. I mean, that's it goes. I mean that sincerely. Yeah, I didn't. This isn't Roy Firestone. I didn't mean to make anybody cry on this pod.
That's good.
But I mean that sincerely. Like that is it's. Triumph is what I'm so proud of people when even if I don't know them, I'm like, Mom, I'm so proud. That's where the tears come from. Tell people your background, in a condensed version of where you started and how you're able to walk teams through these things because you've seen it, you've done it.
So I started in 2019 as a lead manager. I was unemployed for 4 months prior to that role, and I couldn't afford groceries. We had moved into my family's home because we couldn't afford our apartment anymore. And so I applied for a position as a lead manager, and I was called 6 months later, probably after I put in the interview process with the company that I started with.
6 months.
6 months. Yeah, I was called 6 months later, and they said, "Hey, are you still looking for a job?" And I was like sitting on my couch watching Friends in my pajamas, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely looking for a job." And so I walked in, I interviewed, I was hired on the spot, and I stepped into a lead management role, making $27,000 a year, thinking like I'm finally in a place where I'm making it. Like I thought that was what I was worth.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry. So I started in that role and had been in inside sales previously. And so I was there for about 3 months. I think I started in like quarter 3, and I went in for a quarterly review with the COO at the time. And he sat me down and he said, "Hey, on a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being the worst, 4 being the best, you're a 1." And I said, "Respectfully, sir, your data is incorrect. I'm the best employee that you have. And if you give me an hour, I can prove it."
Wow.
And he kind of blinked, and he looked at me and he was like, "Okay, I'll see you back in an hour." And I'd been tracking the data and I had spreadsheets. I knew what I was doing for the organization and that I was adding value. He didn't. And so from that moment on, I kind of moved into, he gave me an opportunity to move into a kind of junior sales management seat because I had a knack for data and understanding of systems and processes. And he had zero data confidence at the time. He couldn't make his decisions in the business without correct data.
Sure.
So I was moved into a sales management role and ultimately had no experience being in, and I didn't deserve it. What I'm thankful for is I had a leader who saw an opportunity to delegate and an opportunity to inspire growth in someone. He saw something in me and he gave me a shot. And I definitely, from that point on, really learned how to manage. I had probably maybe 8 people on the team at the time, stepping into that sales management role. I think the first thing I ever did was an internal audit. That was what I called it. And I turned over 100% of my sales team using words like internal auditing as a manager. But over the course of a 4-year period, we went from 1 market to 8 markets all along the Gulf Coast, and we really dominated that area. And I went from lead manager to sales manager to director, managing 35 boots on the ground acquisition managers, 75 lead managers, and I think our team had about 15 dispo reps. And all of those numbers sound great, but really the biggest lesson that I learned was how to communicate with the people around me in a way that would inspire action, how to help them become what they wanted to become. That management role, that director role isn't about you. When you're in that leadership role, it's not about you putting out fires, you solving all the problems. It's about teaching people how to solve their own problems, helping them take ownership of themselves and their role and their responsibilities. So that's a little bit about my
Yeah.
journey.
So I brought that up for this very reason. There are a lot of great service providers in this business. Most of them have come from the business and realized that they loved that particular service and serving others. And a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, I want someone to coach my team that has been there and done that. And most investors want to that magic word of scale.
Right.
Well, if you're thinking and considering about having someone lead your teams, obviously you would want someone that has scaled a bit, helped scale the business to from 1 market to 8 markets, and had tremendous success in those roles. I wanted to get that out for that very reason. You're qualified for people to understand that you can help their teams at a high level. Anything that you've been helped with here in the morning that we've had here so far at CG Select?
Yes, I think just like everybody that comes to CG, we talk about getting slapped with the information, the emotion, you get the CG slap.
I am missing an opportunity here, by the way. I am going to create a CG slap shirt and I'm going to sell them
Yeah,
outside.
I'm telling you, people talk about it all the time.
I
but
know.
it's just really that CG humbles you. And I think we all try, I try to carry humility in the things that I do, but being in this room, this is where you want to be. You're surrounded by people. You're the dumbest person in the room. And I feel that way, even if I have things that I can give. And that is such an incredible thing to be able to say, that you're surrounded by people who are better at you in different capacities that can inspire you to action. So I will tell you that what I have taken away from this and what the people in this room do is they're just consistent encouragers for me. The things that I battle are just, I think, like most people, that internal self-talk, that self-dialogue, being in a room, that imposter syndrome, at every level, whether it's you're a multi-billion-dollar organization or $1 million organization or a $350,000 organization, the leaders all kind of carry the same sentiment. We're just trying to figure it out. So I get tools and tactics and concepts and one-liners like from Dustin's presentation yesterday. You can't, no matter if you can't see where you're going, no map will help you get there. Those are the concepts that I carry, and that is just such a truth.
Yeah.
And those are things you can stand on and build on. So yeah, I think a lot of people have helped me become the better version of myself here.
I love hearing that. Yesterday, my biggest quote takeaway was, you're not building a team, you're building people who will eventually build the team. Like, you're building up human capital, which will ultimately bring you all the business success that you
It's
want.
true multiplication. That's my heart. That's why, most people don't wake up and say, what I want to be when I grow up as a manager.
Yes, that's right.
It's just not the norm, especially here. You've got a ton of visionaries, and typically they struggle with management. I think that's my superpower. When I wake up, I want to be a manager. I want to help people. And so my favorite thing to do is really working with those sales managers, because you truly get to multiply when you help them set the foundation and you help them implement an inch wide, a mile deep. Then you truly multiply your heart, your vision, your tools, your tactics, your purpose.
All good. There are plenty of entrepreneurs and visionaries that are listening to this or watching this right now that say, hey, how do I go about hiring her? Because she loves to manage and I do not. How do I hire her? So if people want to find you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So you guys can find me at reisalestools.com. You can book a discovery call. I always say those calls are like 30 minutes, but you should probably budget for an hour because I like to talk. But you can find me at REI Sales Tools, or you can email me at jennie@reisalestools.com. You can find me on Facebook, Jennie Hudspeth. But most of what you'll see there are just pictures of my babies.
Yes. And I think that is the human element that most of our members want to make sure that they get across. We're not just robots working crazy. We're actually humans that are doing this for a higher purpose beyond just money. And you have done very well for yourself, young lady. And for someone that was nervous coming into this, you did great.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Jennie, thanks for joining us here on the live CG podcast. We have a couple more, I believe, today for you. This is day 2 here at Collective Genius Select and Elevate. This is our live podcast from Dallas, Texas. We will see you on the next version of the live CG podcast.
Are you ready to scale your real estate business? Visit thecollectivegenius.com, where real estate investors come to scale. Subscribe to the Collective Genius podcast and hit the bell icon to be notified when our next episode releases. And thanks for listening.